Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, and thank you for being here and waiting for this presentation, this workshop. The meeting is going to be recorded, and so I'm asking you if you want to switch your camera on and switch your microphone off. If you want to chat with us, of course, use the chat box or raise your hand if you want to say something, if you want to share your thoughts and discuss with us. So this is the agenda for this morning. We are going to have some changing, but people that will speak are them. And I'm so glad to announce that and to have all of you here to discuss regarding the geographical indicators for industrial and craft products. So thank you for being here. Just a short look around the agenda. We are going to have the welcome from Elisa Guidi, President of Workcraft Council Europe. Then we are going to have an introduction regarding the GIs, what are they, and different things regarding what is need to know regarding the geographical indicators in Europe by Audrey Aubard, the General Secretary from AFIGIA, and she will introduce herself better than I can do. And then I think we are going to have the experience, direct experience in France, shared by Tiffany Paquet, sorry for my bad pronunciation, that is going to explain us her experience regarding the geographical indicators on Burgundy Stone Association. Then we have the Lisbon experience. SEART, Cristina and Fernando are going to make an overview about what is the geographical indicator in Portugal. And then another real experience will be shared with us by Daniel Martin, that is talking about the Filigrana de Portugal. Sorry for my bad pronunciation. I think that I can leave the floor to Elisa to introduce this meeting, and thanks all of you to being here with us. If you want to make any kind of question, use the chat or raise your hand, and I hope that this meeting could be just the first one of several to discuss around the geographical indicators. Thank you.
Thank you, Costanza. Thank you, everybody, to be here today with us. First of all, I will say just a few words about our friend and our director, our board director, Elizabeth Miroshnichenko, who's still in Kiev, trying to find a way to go out, to escape the war. And is really a big sorrow for us that she cannot be with us today, and all days working and creating something new for craft. And I would like also to remember Irina Zvila, a friend, a jewel maker, dead during the invasion in Ukraine. She was our colleague. She was working with us in our crafting business project, and it's really impossible to understand what's going on in Ukraine. So I would like to remember Elizabeth and Irina, and please share all information about the situation in Ukraine, because it's important not to forget what's going on there. Okay, so this is just a few words for our friends, and then I would like to thank to thank Audrey to be here with us and all the speakers, of course. It's important to understand better what's going on about the geographical indication at European level. As you probably remember, we spoke about this topic some years ago also in Révélation during the symposium organized by WCC Europe and Atelier d'Art de France. And it was really interesting, but at the moment the path was stopped because of the election and the European Commission, the end of the old parliament. So now it's going on and it's progressing, and Audrey can explain us what's going on and the new steps that are going to be taken by the European Commission. And I hope it will be interesting for all of us, for our craftsmen, for our countries, and for our territories, because of course the geographical indication are important also in a territorial point of view, not only for craft. It's important for craft, it's important also for territory to be promoted also as land of craft, as places of craft. So I think it will be important to understand what's going on and to ask also Audrey if we can help, and in which way we can help these processes at the European level. So I leave the floor, and Audrey Aubard, please, Audrey. She's not here? Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Audrey Aubard, the General Secretary from AFIGIA, she will introduce the topic. So thank you, Audrey.
Okay, thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Constanza. Well, I will share my screen. So sorry. Good morning to all of you. Well, I hope that everyone is doing very well. It's a pleasure for me to be with you and with WCC Europe this morning in order to share our experience on GIs for craft and industrial projects together with my colleague Tiffen. So I will share my screen. Okay. Trying to start at the beginning. Is it fine? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I would like to share with you our experience in France, and as some of you know, so far we are engaged in the extension of the GI protection in the European Union. So I will explain to you who we are, because some of you do not know who is our federation, what we implemented so far in France, and finally, in order to start opening the discussions, to explain where do we stand at the EU level, because there are some very news that have been announced last week during the Renew webinar. So, starting with the AFIGIA and who we are. So, AFIGIA is the French Association of Craft and Industrial GIs. We have been created in 2015, starting with a non-informal network. Why? Because on the contrary to what is happening in the agricultural sector, where everybody know each other because they are the agricultural chambers, they are the cooperative, etc., etc. In our sector, which is specific, we have different types of projects which are organized in different way with different federations. So we find out that there were different types of value chains with the ceramics, with the stone, with the textile, and everybody was sharing the same views in order to protect the origin of the product. So we decided to create this new association in order to share the knowledge on geographical indications. So the headquarters are located in Bordeaux, where I live, and we are the national and the French Federation of all craft and industrial geographical indication projects. Our mission as AFIGIA is supporting a very shared and homogeneous and quality version of the geographical indications for craft and industrial products. We try to implement a collective and shared vision among all our members, so trying to have some regular meetings sharing the experience. We also develop some collective working documents on the specifications, on the protection, the legal protection, and Tiffany will speak about this afterwards. Also on the controls that are related to the implementation of the geographical indication process. Our objective is to increase also the knowledge on geographical indication for our members, but also for any third party would like to be interested in knowing how this specific geographical indication work. And also, it was our first objective was also to be the referent of the national and European institutions in charge of geographical indication. And today we are discussing with different types of institutions in order to improve the system in France. Some of our achievements so far, we created a real place of exchanges on GIs among our members and also with all the stakeholders. We also started with the legislative work because our association started to work before the creation of the GIs during the consumer law discussions. We also we are also very active in all the intellectual property tools and laws that are drafted so far in France. So on the counterfeited products, procedure, etc., etc. We develop also a very high level of skills in terms of control on GIs, and the producers and the members of the AFIGIA appreciate this type of work that help them in the implementation of this kind of control and specific system daily. We also are very involved in the protection internationally, so at the European level, as you may know, and we also support the value chain of the GI. And recently we had the observer status within the intellectual property, International Intellectual Property Office status that allow us to attend the different meetings that are related to the trademarks and the geographical indications. So that's the main activities we are undertaking with all of members. Concerning the geographical indication system now, in order to raise a little bit your awareness on the system, even if I see that there are some of your members that already know the system. Well, the geographical indications is most commonly known as a system that protects agricultural wines and agri-food products, and in the EU, so far, only these types of products are covered by the European protection. However, in some countries in Europe, there is a specific national legislation, and we will see just afterwards with Portugal. And in France, since 2014, we had the extension of the protection of the geographical indication for the craft and the industrial sector that has been covered in law specific to the protection of the consumers. And at this same time, we had firstly the protection of the GI for any type of product, but also the protection of the name of the territories, like the cities, for instance, or the region, which are deeply rooted. So, so far we have protected in France 12 GIS products. As you can see, you have here the national logo, which is an official logo. It is not compulsory, but our association is committed to use this logo on, well, the labeling on all the promotion tools. We have different types of products that are recognized as a GI, like seats, like stone, like China, the porcelain de Limoges, you may know, jewelry, tapestry, shoes, flower concentrates, fabrics. There are many stones that are very interested in the recognition of the geographical indication, and we have any other product like knives, for instance, that are knives where the examination is pending, and also we have some pottery, not China, but pottery, which is also interesting in the recognition. So we have more or less like we were said to have more or less from 100 to 150 products that could be interested in getting the GI protection. Here you have a picture that has been made by the French IP office with all the GIs that has been recognized so far and the repartition among the territory of France. And you have also the specific logos of each GIs. So now the interest for the stakeholders to follow the GI route. So why producers and or territories, because you may also have some territories that are interested in the GI strategy, why they are choosing this type of strategy and IP tool to develop some specific sectors of the craft and the industry. First of all, and it was in France, the most important thing, and you will see also with the example that will be provided by Tiffany afterwards, we need some protection and trust in the market. Why? Because GI is not a national, as we can say, label or national seal. It is an internationally intellectual property tool that can be used not only at national level, but also in the, I would say more or less the whole world, which is very powerful. It is also, and we hope so in the EU, that GI will be a public tool that will implement and provide the strengthening of the craft sector, and not only a private trademark that is depending only on a private development. Also, there is a specificity of the products that are linked with the geographical indication because they have specific characteristics, specific quality based on the know-how, on specific raw material, for instance, on the notoriety because of their origin. And this is very important, and only the GI tool can protect the specific link between the product and its geographical origin, which allow the producers to be protected against unfair competition. So it is a way to clean up the market. Based also on the experience in France, and what Tiffany also experienced, that the protection of this kind of product with trademark is not satisfactory and very expensive. So the power of the GI will allow the producers to be better protected on the market. And the last level also of the interest, which is very important among our association, is the protection of the consumers, because we need to protect the consumers on the origin, on the authenticity of the product, and geographical indication will allow the consumer to make a responsible choice on the market. There are also some other types of interests that are more linked with the territories and the economic dimension. First of all, and based on our French experience, and I know that in Portugal it may be also the same, when we develop GI, we collaborate with the territories, so with the region, with the cities, with the villages, etc., etc. Why? Because GI is linked with the economic and territorial dynamics. So geographical indication may protect the local businesses, and they allow them to strengthen and to be stronger on the market because they will have a better visibility, and we face these consequences, these positive impacts with our GIs. We also defend the local purchasing or the national purchasing using the GI concept, and also we can have all the spin-off effect like tourism, and having GIs having a promotion on the product can allow also to develop the tourism of the territory. So because of all these positive impacts and because there was some needs expressed by the stakeholders, they decided to choose the GI strategy. So concerning quickly our experience in France, so as I already said, in 2014, we had the extension of the concept of GI for industrial and craft products. We make the difference between industrial and craft product because stones in France are belonging to the Ministry of Industry and the rest of the craft sector is belonging to the Ministry of Economy. So this explains the difference between industrial and craft sectors. The competent body that recognize the protection of the GI is the French IP office. Our system, due to the legal definition, is a collective approach. It means that as GI is common heritage that belongs to different type of stakeholders, it may be brought mainly by a collective, an association, a group of producers. The GI is defined in a specification which contents is defined also by the law with different types of items like the name, the process of production, the definition of the characteristics, the geographical area, the process of production I already said, also explaining how deep is the link between the product and the geographical area, and also some control aspects. In France, the controls are based on official controls made by external bodies that cover inspection or certification. So far, 100% of the GI are controlled by certified body, which is for us more concrete and that guarantee more objectivities on the controls that are implemented. And once the GI is recognized, this will open to legal protection rules that will protect the producers and the GI on the market, and only at national level at this stage. The cost of application is 315 euros for one time. And for one time, including if you move a comma or just one word in the specification, but the cost of application is not expensive. As I mentioned before, there is a facultative national logo we committed to use. And if tomorrow there is a European logo, we will be also committed to use this European logo. The way forward in order to build up a GI strategy. So first of all, we need, well, the group of producers and the people that will manage the GI, which is compulsory with our law in France. So we need an association, a cooperative, whatever the legal form. We need to assess the feasibility of the GI tool. Then this group need to have some specific status to be recognized afterwards during the process of recognition by the French IP office as the management body of the GI. We need to follow up the content of the specification. We need to follow also the respect of the certification process. The submission will be, the submission of the application will be made through the IP office, which will make a scrutinize of the application with an opposition procedure so that any person that are interested can make some comments on the content of the application. The examination can last from, I will say, 9 months to maximum 2 years, which is much more less than the procedure for the agricultural product. Then there is an official registration at the IP office, and then comes the daily management of the GI by the group of producers. This is how the system is built in France, and mainly based on what is existing for agricultural products. Now, and to finish, I hope I'm still on time. What is happening? Okay, what is happening in the EU, and where do we stand after 10 years, 10 years of discussion? So there have been so many works, so many studies, so many meetings with the European Commission for 10 years. And I think that the first study, happens in 2009, something like that. Well, our directorate, which is in charge of the GI, is not the Directorate of Agriculture, as for the other GIs, but the DG Grow, which is the Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship, and SMEs, and more specifically, the unit dedicated to the intellectual property and the new word, which is the intangible economy, because intellectual property word is intangible. So I think that I'm not the only one, because some of you have already had some discussion with the DG Grow team, and I think they are in connection now in order to get the information in order to draft the new proposition. So more or less the main steps since the starting of this work was, first of all, the report held by Virginie Rosière at the European Parliament that stressed the importance in 2015 to regulate the protection of this specific product. And in 2020, there were also a publication of a DG Grow impact study that stressed the potential positive impacts of non-agricultural GIs, which are relying on the same impacts as the ones that are really known for the agricultural products. Then the things became more and more important, and we noticed a real progress in the work of the European Commission. At the end of 2020, there were the EU Council conclusion on intellectual property policy and the European Commission action plan that declared that they were ready to consider a system of sui generis protection, means a specific protection for non-agricultural products based on a thorough impacts analysis of its potential costs and benefits. Followed to this proposal, there were some different consultations that were organized by the European Commission following this roadmap. In January, and then I think it was in the summer, where the conclusion were very positive. There were very few countries or few stakeholders that were against the implementation of this type of regulation. And this synthesis highlighted the overall support of a European legal framework for the craft and industrial product. The European Commission also published at the end of the year its last study on controls and enforcement on non-agricultural GI rights, which was also positive and highlighting the different kinds of regulation that could be implemented in the future. We have been informed at the end of last year that the European Commission was starting to draft a regulation on the protection of the craft and industrial GIs. At the same time, maybe you are aware about that the European Union Committee of Region adopted at 100% votes a report on the protection of craft and industrial GIs, and it was adopted on October 2021. And this report was presented by a former French Minister of Craft, Martine Pinville, which is now in my region, in the region of Bordeaux, and that has really supported the adoption of this report. So, well, I would say that MEP, Committee of Region, some of producers are in favor of the extension of the protection for craft and industrial products. So at the end of last year, we can say that we had a green lantern from the EC on the opening of the protection for non-agricultural products. And we have been consulted several times, and maybe you too, in order to provide some, I would say, some feed to the European Commission in order to think about the future provision that could be inserted in the proposal. last week there was the Renew seminar where the European Commissioner Thierry Breton made a speech, an official speech on this topic, which is the very first time we see him while presenting the protection of GI as an element of the intellectual property right policy in the European Union. And we know now that we will have a proposal, I will say soon, depending on what is happening now in Ukraine, we will have this proposal in the second trimester of this year with now I think some elements of discussions. So our position since 10 years is for us the need for a specific European GI regulation for craft product, because our products in France are widely exported, and I know that some of your products also are widely exported, and the national protection is not enough. And the second element is linked with the international obligations of the European Union, because the European Union is part of certain international treaties on geographical indication that make no difference according to the nature of the product. So if the EU is member of this type of treaties, they may allow and provide protection for our craft and industrial products. So now, well, just, our action, you may know it, we have contact with the DG Grow, we have contact with our MEPs, with our territory, and since now 2 years, we are trying to have more contacts with our colleagues, I mean our producers among Europe, in order to share our views on what could be a GI system for our producers, for our territories in the futures. And so far, we had some very in-depth discussions with Spain, Italy, Germany, Ireland, through the, well, your colleagues of the Craft Council, Hungary, Portugal, and other countries. So our question of today is how we can push this initiative all together, and trying to have in mind some elements of reflections like, what do we want? In France, due to our experience, we have more or less a clear vision, but we cannot have only a French vision. We need to have a common vision with our colleagues from Europe. So what do we want? Do we want the same system as the one which is provided for agricultural product? What could be the GI applicants, only producers? Shall we integrate also the territories, because the territories have a specific role in this type of strategy? The definition of the condition of production and the specification, how far should we go? What could be the types of controls we would like to implement? What could be the level of protection? How about the management from the public authorities, national and or European ones? Because the European Commission is thinking about having a direct contact with the European Commission. The legal entity that could be competent to recognize this type of GI will be the European Office of Trademark, which is based in Alicante. What we could discuss is, okay, we can agree on that, but what limit could be seen to grant this type of competency to a trademark office, etc., etc. So we started to think on certain questions. So far, we did not have any type of draft. We don't know what is the content of the draft, but what we will discuss is how to be efficient in order to provide some concrete views to the European Commission in order to implement a tool that will be useful for all the producers in your countries. I thank you for your attention, and well, I will be here. I remain here, and I will be here to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Audrey. Thank you very much for this overview on the GI and what you have done till now. and what we are going to do, I mean, from now on. If you don't have any comments right now, I think that we can move on with Tiffany Paquet with her speech.
Yes, so I'm gonna share a document.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. So is it okay for you?
Yes, it's going to upload. Yes, perfect.
Okay.
You can just enter the full screen visualization.
Okay. I don't know.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm working for Association Pierre de Bourgogne. I'm the Secretary General. As our association was created in 1996, and we have 30 companies, members of the association. We are supported by the region of Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, and association is the organization of defense and management of the GI Pierre de Bourgogne, and we are AFIGIA member, funding member. So talking about the Burgundy stone, you have about 70 varieties of stone, and you can find Burgundy stone everywhere in the world. You have, for example, the feet of the Eiffel Tower, Metropolitan Museum of New York. So Burgundy stone is everywhere. Our GI was registered by the National Institute of Industrial Property on June 29 in 2018. And the GI is based on 3 main criteria. So first of all, you have the specific qualities of limestone extracted in the geographical area, who is Bourgogne region, and the notoriety of Pierre de Bourgogne, the know-how of professionals in the sector, so carriers, shapers, installers, sculptors, and stonemasons. And this is very important, but the extraction, processing, shaping, and finishing must be carried out entirely by a certified operator. Of course, you have conditions to become a GI certified producer. First, you must be in the geographical area. You must complying with the GI specifications and the associated control plans. You being a member of the Pierre de Bourgogne Association and being monitored by the certification body Certipac. GI controls. So the controls are based on certification principles. They are realized by Certipac, who is a certification body duly accredited, and you have different frequencies. So every year for factories and every 3 years for carriers. After the audit reports are sent to the NP. There are many objectives with the GI. First of all, protecting products from counterfeiting, fighting against abuses of Pierre de Bourgogne denomination, perpetuating the local industrial sector because a GI is not relocatable, valuing know-how of professionals, encouraging prescribers to use local materials, and buying 100% French with product traceability. So this is very important for professionals and for consumers. So protection rules. Intellectual property code mentions that the names covered by a GI are protected against any usurpation, imitation, or evocation, even if the true origin of the goods or services is indicated, or if the protected name is transferred. Any infringement of a GI constitutes an infringement for which the author is liable. Fines or imprisonment may be imposed on legal or natural persons, and the maximum penalties are 2 years imprisonment and a fine of 300,000 euros. So we have many actions. GI raising awareness tools are for the producers and for the users. Today, protection tools are warning letters, legal actions, and we close work with the frauds. And we have in project monitoring of abuses on the internet. So this is an example of what we find. This is a society who proposed ceramic slab imitating stones originated in Bourgogne. So this is not Burgundy stone, but you can see Dalle Pierre de Bourgogne. So a consumer can think that is Pierre de Bourgogne. So we sent a warning letter, and Dalle Pierre de Bourgogne became slab Aphisia. This is another example, stone slab of Bourgogne. So beside, this is not the good orthograph. And we sent a warning letter, and now page does not exist. Today we have 15 certified companies. 4 companies in the process of certification, and there is a better competition context, and fraudulent companies have changed their communication and renamed their copies. So now what's next? Strengthening our protection strategy in France and abroad. We need to protect GIs at European level. We close work with AFIGIA, regions, INP, MEP, and European GI stakeholders. This is another example of Italian industry, a company who propose Pierre de Bourgogne, and you can see that the address of the website is pierredebourgogne.com, and today we can't do anything. So this is a reason why we need a protection in European level. Okay, thank you for your attention. And this is my email address if you have some questions or if you want some precisions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. I think that, yes, this is more comprehensible right now because since Audrey has made an overview, now we have a concrete example of what a GI means in France, for example. So thank you so much, Stefan. I don't know if you want, or we can move on with the other case that we have in agenda. So I would like to ask to Cristina Mendes and to Fernando Gaspar from CET to introduce what the GI means for Portugal and their experience. So if you can share the screen, Cristina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Constanza.
Thank you, Cristina.
So.
And of course, if you have any kind of question or curiosity, or if you want just to ask something or comment all of our presentation, use the chat, raise your hand, and we are going to debate on these at the end of all the speeches. Thank you, Cristina.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. So me and Mr. Gaspar, we are going to explain briefly how all the procedure concerning the geographical indications in Portugal has been developed. So, are you seeing my screen?
Nope, not right now.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yes. Okay. Okay. And now?
Yes, now it's working.
Yes.
If you can end, yes. Thank you.
Okay. So the first known agricultural geographical indication for crafts register in Portugal was Bordado da Madeira, embroidery for Madeira Island. It was registered in 1989. Bordado da Madeira is a well-known and very traditional craft product with a very long history. And it has been exported since the second half of the 19th century. So the regional governments felt the need to protect this product because it was very, very traditional and characteristic from the Madeira Island, and also had a large number of producers. And as it was an exported product, they felt the need to protect this product. So by a decree, by a law, and by registering this product as a GI, they began the protection of the product. In 2010 and 2011, 9 traditional craft products from the north of Portugal initiated this process and were registered as GIs. All these productions belong to a part of Portugal that is very dynamic, and the number of producers were very, very high in some of these productions, and they had the municipalities had already a very good work done with all these productions, and they felt the need of having a protection for these productions. So as our national law for intellectual propriety this did not prevent to register GIs for craft products as GIs. So it was possible to register them. What we felt a need was to have a procedure that allowed to have these productions well reported and well described before they were registered. So these 9 traditional craft projects from the north of Portugal made a sort of they were pilot projects where we developed the system that further on was registered as the origin of the law in 2015. There was a law that was published that created a national qualification and certification system for traditional craft projects. So learning from the 9 pilot projects, we were able to design a system a national system to make possible for any craft project production to follow the procedures and to be able to be registered as GI. This national qualification and certification system, the jurisdiction for this national system is from the Institute of Employment and Vocational Training, because the jurisdiction for craft sector in Portugal is from the Labour Ministry, and EFP belongs to the Labour Ministry. And also for this national qualification system, CEART is the technical support. At the moment, we have 24 GIs already. 24 GI just registered GIs, and Mr. Gaspar is telling more or less 150 enterprises that are within this system. How is the system designed? So first of all, a local entity that can be an association of producers, can be a municipality, makes a proposal for a specification document, a document that describes and all the production and raw materials and everything. This document is analyzed. It has a technical support and analysis from CEART. So CEART helps the proponents to build up the document, although the document is the responsibility of the proponent. And CEART has a technical role in all this procedure. So afterwards, this document, the specifications document, is submitted to the evaluation of an advisory committee that is chaired by EFP. After the technical statement of the advisory committee, this document goes to EFP that will approve the document. And this document is the document that allows the National Institute for Intellectual Property to allow the register of the GI. The most important part of all this procedure is the specifications document. And this is a brief description of what a document must contain. It must contain the cultural and geographical framework of the production, the geographical delimitation of the production area, the identification and characterization of raw materials used and production methods, identification of characteristics and of the product, and the conditions of innovation of the product. You can see in the picture one of the traditional productions in its version of innovation. So this black ceramic vase, and it must contain all the references of the technical and safety standards. And what is the advisory committee? What kind of members does it have? So the committee has 11 members, which represent the government areas for employment, culture, and economy. So in this committee, not only the Labor and Employment Ministry are represented, so our Culture Ministry and Economy also. Professional training institutions, there are several professional training institutions that are in this committee, and the craft sector by the representatives of the producers also. Another important issue that is within the law is the skills and requirements for the producers. So we would like to share with you what we have learned from all this long path that we have been making for the development of this system. So the most important thing is the involvement of all the stakeholders, producers, public authorities, cultural organizations, professional associations. So mainly producers must be involved in the building up, managing, and control of the system. Also, agriculture GIs as Audrey has also said, the agricultural GI system provides a very good model to be adapted to non-agricultural GIs for crafts and industry GIs. And are certain things like the 2 steps of registrations or register that are very important to have a register as a national level and another one at a European level. The application and register process must have very well defined rules, accurate and clear, and be truly documented. The link between products and the territories of origin are very important and must be very clearly demonstrated. Also, the application and register process must be something simple and approachable, and the control of the use of the GIs must be carried by certification bodies, independent certification and external certification bodies, because this is very important to bring transparency to the system. Also, the transition period between the system must accommodate the existing systems in each country. So we must have to have time to accommodate our own systems. And one thing that is very important to the Portuguese case is the role of the public local authorities. So in Portugal, municipalities, for example, were very, very important in the build-up of the system and the support for the register of the GIs. Some of these productions have many producers, but some of them don't have so many producers. Even if the process is approachable, it's not easy for productions that have just a few producers to be able to have the capacity of doing all the procedure. So municipalities, because they recognize the importance for the territory and the local economy of these productions and how they underline the identity of the territory, they were very supportive and very important for the creation of these GIs. So for us in Portugal, it's important to include public local authorities among the entities that can assess the application and register of these the GIs. So to give you a number, 77% of the GIs in Portugal are managed and were registered by municipalities. The system must include, and the most important stakeholder are the producers, but public entities in specific cases are the support that the producers need to be able to follow all the procedures. So I think very briefly, I don't know if
very well. I agree.
to add anything else, but very briefly, it's what we in Portugal, it's our experience in Portugal and what we wanted to share with everybody.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you very much for your presentation and the overview of these very long processes, very long path that you established in Portugal. So to bring to all of your attention a real experience of that and the case study, I invite to share his own experience, Daniel Martin. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you, Daniel, wants to just introduce yourself and
Yes.
let me know whenever you want. Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for the invitation. Special thanks to Ana Cristina Mendes and Fernando Gaspar from CET. They do have a very important role in the Portuguese process of certification. They have been our partners since day one, and they are still nowadays our partners in the certification of the Filigrana de Portugal. So I'm working in the municipality of Gondomar, but I'm representing two municipalities, Gondomar and Póvoa de Lanhoso, which are the main productive centers of filigree in Portugal. So these are two cities located at the north, and we both have the certification. Our producers have the certification of Portuguese filigree. I would kindly ask you to play our video.
Thank you. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And let me know if the audio is in. Just say yes.
A tradição é ponto de partida. É fonte de inspiração, dando lugar ao único, ao inigualável. Pelas mãos de mestres, guardiões de uma sabedoria secular, aprendemos a dominar a natureza e os segredos dos metais mais nobres. E pela imaginação indomável de homens e mulheres devotos à ourivesaria, demos lugar à mais pura das criações, a filigrana. Ontem, tal como hoje e amanhã, o nosso compromisso é e será sempre preservar aquilo que temos de mais autêntico, a nossa arte. Valorize a produção artesanal. Escolha filigrana certificada.
Okay, so I'll share my screen.
Thank you.
Is it okay?
Yes. If you can go on the presentation mode. Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was, as I was saying, I'm representing the cities of Gondomar and Póvoa de Lanhoso. These are the two main productive centers of filigree in Portugal, and they are united with the purpose of valorizing craft skills, defending our producers, and most important, the protection of the manual production from industrial limitations. The certification is held by A Certifica and our protection by the Portuguese Institute of Industrial Property. Some of the production process of filigree is the art of obtaining very, very thin wires of gold or silver. It's a very long way from the beginning, that is the casting, until the final project, combining hard work with subtle skills. And this is a handmade job. Filigree is produced in small-scale workshops using techniques passed down from generation to generation. The handcraft production makes each piece unique. These are some images from the production process. So it all starts with the casting, then stretching the wires, welding, and then the most artistic task, which is filling the pieces one by one, as you can see in the picture. For example, a heart like this one can take about 3 hours to be completed. And this is a totally handmade work until nowadays. And this is exactly what we are trying to protect. These are some of the final products. In the center, the filigree heart that is still today the most emblematic piece of filigree. Some other products. This is the biggest filigree heart in the world. It is in Expo Dubai in the Portuguese pavilion until today. This is a filigree dress that was specially made to go to Expo Dubai. It was also in the Portuguese pavilion. About the certification, as my colleagues from CET were saying, it is ruled by the Decree Law 121 from 2015 that defines the national system of qualification and certification of traditional handmade productions. Filigrana de Portugal was officially certified in 2018, and it is a warranty given by the certifying organization that guarantees that the product is made according to the specification book that characterizes this craft production. This book is the result of a profound investigation held with the support and with the agreement of all established jewelers. This is the label that of the filigree of Portugal. So to which certified producer is assigned a punch and a label for placement in each certified piece. The punch mark directly on the product and the label as a guarantee proves to the consumer that this is a unique handmade piece. About the geographical indication, it was registered in 2019, and it is a countrywide denomination, meaning that all the producers in Portugal who manufacture the filigree according to the rules of the specification book are able to take part in the certification process and, of course, benefit with the status of the brand, therefore gaining reputation, support, and the quality that comes with it. These are the companies in Portugal with certified production. We have 21 companies certified. About aims and benefits, preserve culture and heritage, protect traditional techniques of Portuguese jewelry, to value craftsmen and traditional workshops, guarantee product quality, value market, as it was said earlier, reinforce buyers' trust, national and international brand exposure, and increase competitiveness and reach new markets. The main challenges are to continue, and this is very important for us, to support certified artisans and handcrafts production units. We also have to promote some campaigns with two main targets. The general public, we need to spread the word, choose certified filigree, and the jewelry stores can make a difference by separate certified filigree from mass production articles. Other challenges are to explore new markets worldwide and approach the fashion industry. Another challenge that we already do is sustainable tourism as a way of preserving and boost traditional workshops. The filigree route, for example, provides visits to the workshops, getting to know genuine goldsmiths, learn and participate in the manual process. I must say that these workshops are small-scale workshops. We do not have big industries in Gondomar or in Povo de Lanhoso to do filigree. These are small workshops that are still very that still use a handmade way of doing their pieces. And another huge challenge is the application for UNESCO intangible cultural heritage. This is what I had prepared. Our website is filigranadeportugal.pt. Here you can find more information about our certified companies and about our job. Please be free to ask me any questions that you have, and thank you so much for the opportunity. And good continuation of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Actually, we have a question for you. I don't know if Marita wants to directly share that your question with us, or yes.
Hi. Yes,
Thank
it's no
you.
problem. I was just wondering if the raw materials that are used also need to be from Portugal, or if the certification is simply for the process to make the filigree. So if they were to import the gold or silver, would that still be okay? That's mainly my, and that then can be applied to other products as well, not just filigree. And your filigree is beautiful. We do filigree also in Malta, but it's yours is really beautiful.
Thank you, Marita.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, what is certified is the handmade process. So we do not have gold in Gondomar. We used to have some centuries ago. Unfortunately, the gold is over, so we have to import gold. For silver is the same thing. So we buy silver and gold elsewhere. We do not have it in Gondomar. And the certification is the way of making the filigree. What is important for us is the handmade production. But any companies, not just from Gondomar and from Povo de Lanhoso, can have this certification if they obey to the specification book, how it's made, and then prove to the certification organism. This is an independent organism called A Certifica in Portugal. If they prove and make the filigree by the certification book, they will also get the certification process.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Can I add something, Constanza?
Yes.
Okay, so what Daniel has just said is the same for all the production. So the raw materials don't need to be from the territory. What must be linked to the territory is the history of the production, the connection with the tradition and the history of the production within the specific territory. So the specification document or the specification document book describes the procedure, all the process of production, the materials that the raw materials allowed it to be included in the process. That can be local or no local raw materials, some models, iconography, and all that is connected with the tradition of the production and the link with the territory. So in the case of filigree, is the only case that we have that the production area is all over the country. Because this kind of production has been...
We have two more.
We have two more.
In the field of the instruments.
The musical instruments. We have two other that are national-wide produced. what the producers must respect is the specifications that are in the specifications book or document, where the procedures, the raw materials, the iconography, everything is very well described.
Thank you so much, Cristina. I just leave the floor for a minute to Elisa Guidi, because she had to leave earlier. So before starting the discussion, just leave you the floor.
Yes, just say goodbye to everybody. Thanks to be there with us, and thanks for the very interesting ideas and information. And of course, we will be pleased as WCC Europe, but also as Artex, to work with all of you to support these processes for GI. So thank you so much. I'm sorry I have to leave. Thank you and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you. To continue in order to continue the discussion, I'd like to ask you, if you want, and you are free to switch on your camera so we can chat together. I saw that Elton raised his hand. If you want, Elton, to share your thoughts with us.
It was the same question that Marita asked. So
perfect. Thank you, Elton. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
our minds are synced. We spend too much time together. I actually have a follow-up question, if you don't mind, about something that Cristina just said. So if you have a specification document that goes into even the detail of the traditional designs and the motifs of a certain craft, if an artisan was to innovate and change the design or do something different, would they still be able to get this certification? And Daniel is nodding yes, so I guess so.
So the specification book or document also contains the conditions for innovation. So what is the framework of innovation? What the limit, not the limits, what can be innovated and even though be considered as a traditional production, okay? And innovation can be in the design, can be in some techniques, but the conditions of innovation are contained in the document. As I told you, the black vase that was in the picture, it was it belonged to, that is a production of the black ceramics, and it's a new design and completely innovating in the design, but it respects, in that case, respects the production method and the materials, but the design it's new. So that is also in the book, the specifications book or document is used.
In all the cases, we don't. It's important to know not to lose. Yes, the identity of the product.
So you have to establish what can be considered as a traditional product.
Thank you.
Not to follow, in order not to lose the link to the tradition. Okay.
Thank you. That's very clear, and thank you for clarification. Audrey, please.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to add some elements based on our approach in France. The discussion we already had with including with the European Commission on what could be integrated in the future GI, tradition, innovation, and we agree. And I saw that the CNA is here also, that we don't have to close the door to the innovation, and the GI process is not made for being in the prehistorical world, and most of the time it is one of the arguments employed by the enemies of the GI, saying that, well, we will remain in the old world. No, that's wrong. So I saw two examples we had in France with the Basque textile. In the Basque textile, there is real old design, I will say, that we are used to see with the grandmothers that were using in the house. But the newcomers in this area have developed a lot of new designs, but linked still with the tradition of lines, because they are based on lines. And they decided to integrate a lot of versions of these designs in order not to close the door only to the old designs, and to match also the consumer demands. Another aspect which is a little different is for the porcelain, for the Limoges porcelain. They didn't want also to close the door to the new technologies, because in the porcelain industry there is an industry and not only a craft, and they need to leave the door open to integrate the new machines and the new things that will be used in order to provide the porcelain, but as it is described in its characteristics. So there is still the link you mentioned, Christina. You need to define this link, and this link can be also based on the community skills also, which is existing in the territory. And also one last element, once you have your specification recognized, you can still reopen the specification, because you can modify the specification. We have a lot of, I will take the example of cheeses that have been recognized, including in many countries, that have been recognized 20 or 30 years ago. And in 20 and 30 years ago, they didn't produce the cheese as they are producing nowadays. They have new elements, and you can still reopen your specification to include the new elements, the new techniques, maybe the new design, but preserving the link you defined at the very beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. In fact, David comments that a tradition was an innovation that works so well that remains in time. Tradition and innovation are not opposite concepts. In this, following this line and following your thoughts on that. So if you want to add something, David, please take the floor as you prefer.
No, I just wanted to share that thought that came to my mind, you know, listening to all the debate about with Marita and Daniel and Audrey. So I thought it was, I don't know, I think it's important just to remember, because we always, we have a tendency to work with like tags. And so this is innovation, this is tradition, this is, you know, so let's just try to be more flexible and adaptable and liquid. And I think, you know, that will help for crafts and GIs and all these project we are working on. Thank you.
Thank you, David. In the meantime, yes, Tamar.
Yeah, thank you. My question is about the location of the craftsmen for those crafts which are produced not on the national level, but in particular regions. So what if the artisan is working beyond this region, but maybe he knows it from the apprenticeship or from his family members who previously lived in the region? Can they still acquire this GI for their production? Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. I don't know who wants to answer. So the question is, if I correctly understood, if a craftsman based in another, outside of the original region where this tradition is based, if these craftsmen can still benefit from this protection. Audrey?
No. Well, the answer is no. As long as you are not located in the defined area, you cannot benefit from the GI name. Well, even if you follow the same technique to produce the product, but as long as you are not located in the defined geographical area, it is not possible. However, there are some exceptions. We will see when the EU will present its proposition. So there are some negotiation in case of former uses or existence of former trademarks. But if not, there will be no possibility for this man to use this name. We had the example for the Lamage porcelain, that people that were not located in the region came back in the region in order to integrate the GI group and to continue to use the GI porcelain de Limoges.
Thank you, Audrey. Elton?
A question for Audrey, please. Are there any guidelines at the European level of how the GIs should be formulated, or is it up to the individual countries? How does it work?
Well, at the European level, there is nothing except for agricultural product at the moment. In France, we do not have, as the IP office refuses to publish a GI. We are planning within the AFIGIA to make one draft of GI applicant guide, and we already did one, but not finalized yet, to help the producers in, well, getting and working on the GI specification.
I don't know, maybe a suggestion for the WCC Europe. Maybe, I know it's a lot of work, but maybe we can agree on how GI should be, so that once we move for recognition by the EU level, a lot of work would have been done, and it would be similar to what countries in Europe are already doing.
Laura, if you want to comment.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, thank you, Elton. We will try to do that. Yeah, I mean,
even simple guidelines, but at least, you know, countries across Europe are following something on the same lines, not very far up.
I mean, EG is a important topic for us, as it is for our members, and that's why we are planning working on that. This is the first seminar, as you know, and more will follow. And the idea is to share our views and try to work together to do that together, all of us, to compromise and to see and to learn from our experiences. And I think it's a good idea to draft something, to have a common paper to work on it. So yeah, definitely we will work on it. As you know, we are starting a new project this summer, and EG is one of our main topics to be addressed. So definitely we will work on it.
Thank you, Laura.
I think that the guidelines that are going to be established at the European level can also help us to draft a document more defined. But I think also we have to wait a little bit for the guidelines that are going to be established in order to orient us to what could be a good index of what each GI should apply for.
Thank you, Christina. In the meantime, I personally have a question. What if the as it said before, the protection, for example, for the filigree is on the process, on the crafts making process. But what if, I don't know, for example, for Burgundian stones are also the stones under the protection? So the raw material itself, or yes. So how you can combine these two things? On one side, you have to protect the craft transformation of the raw material, but not to protect the raw material itself as for the filigree. On the other hand, you have to protect both raw material and craft making process or industrial process. So it could be have these two different levels for the protection.
Yes, I will answer. In terms of stone in France, we protect the raw material and the transformation of the stone. The choice of the enterprises was very simple. Is that they are facing many problems of fake products and closures of enterprises in the region. So the objective of the GI is twofold. Firstly, to guarantee the source and the origin of the stone that is extracted and transformed, and then maintaining the activity within the defined region. So they decided to link the GI with the raw material and the transformation. If you want Burgundian stone, you can only get the Burgundian stone from enterprises located in the regions. And it's the same in Brittany, in the Pyrenees, etc., etc. But it's a choice of the enterprises.
Yes, because in Burgundy, almost all the companies are in the area of Bourgogne. Many of them. So this is a choice of companies.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. Yes, David? You're muted?
Yes. I just was thinking about Elton's proposals for the WCC about preparing this document of, putting common how IGI should be. Of course, we are different countries and regions and with I don't know, different realities, I guess. But I'm sure we can get a minimum common denominator, no, for this. But I was last week in the seminar that the group Renew Europe made about this topic, and Mr. Kamil Pilzianski, the deputy director of the General Market, Industry and Entrepreneurship of the European Commission, said, as was said before here also, that in the spring they will present a proposal of the GI approximation to the European Commission. I don't know, spring is right now, so it's in 2 weeks. So maybe would be smarter just to wait this, this proposal they present, just to be, waiting for it and have an active response to their proposal, because they have been working for a long time already, and we didn't start. Well, we start, just with this first seminar. So maybe I don't know if we have a direct connection with them. I don't know if someone here has it or the YCC, I don't know it, but maybe we just should ask them for this proposal and then work with that base. What do you think?
I think it's a good proposal. I just suggested so because it's important to know what is going to be the framework, and then WCC can work and must work within this framework that will be defined. And I would like to also to add something. The national level and the national view of each production, it's very important, because we have just seen 2 productions that have the main point in different points. So For the French case, is the raw material and the origin of the raw material that is the main issue. And for instance, for filigree, the main issue is not the raw material, because as Danielle has said, we don't have gold, unfortunately, or silver. But the main issue is the way how it's produced, the way what we want to protect is this way of production, and that is what is important. So the know-how, the skills, and the procedures. So each case has its own characteristics and its own differences. That's why we in Portugal, we believe that the national level will be always very important because it's the proximity to the production, to the producers. So it's very important. But of course, that we have to have a common. Then I don't know how to say it in English. We have to decide what the points that we have in common and what is the common framework, and work within this framework.
Thank you, Christina. Yes, and thank you for, yes, Audrey, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I would like to add something. The most important thing, well, you see that we had, with Portugal, we have an experience. This experience is not a magic. We cannot get the experience from one day to another one. And Tiffen can also give her witnesses. We need time to integrate the GI system, and wherever I worked on GI in the world, we need a time. So it means that once you will have the EC proposal, maybe some of you will not be able to answer because you don't face the same reality. You don't face this problem, you don't know how to answer as easy. The other point, I see that the European Commission left. The people from the European Commission, and we are facing that also in France. The French IP office is not doing the same very good work as CRT and the connection with the INPI. The INPI is examining the application from Paris, never going on the ground, never looking at what the craftsmen are doing. And when you are working on the craft sector and the industrial sector, you need to go to see what it is, as easy. The point is that the European Commission is drafting a text trying to collect the positive experience from the agricultural sector, which is obviously positive, taking some, I will say, general overview on GIs. I know because I'm working on these topics since 20 years, but they never went on the ground. They never see how does it work in Spain, in Portugal, in Italy, in Germany, etc., etc. So the point is that we will have a general regulation, but maybe that will be not adapted to the ground. And that's what we saw now, the gaps in France not having this direct connection because it will need some adaptations on the legal framework, because it will not be 100% a copy-paste of what is existing from the agricultural sector. It is impossible. So that's why, well, I think we all agree with that. It is important to discuss, to have some reflection, trying to spread what could be a GI concretely in your country, even if you do not have a system, in order to see what is acceptable for your craftsmen and what is not acceptable in the future. And this will happen very quickly, because if the Commission will propose something in April, you will be, well, you need to be able to make some proposal, well, continuously during the coming months. That's the point. Maybe we will need to be ready extremely quickly.
Thank you, Audrey. And I really like to thank all of you for joining us today and for bringing all of your thoughts and questions and experiences here. I know that this is just the beginning within us, of course. The process was so long, but we just entered in right now. So I don't know if someone else have any kind of question, or what do you suggest, as Elton and David suggested before, to bring on the discussion? I think that what is said is that we are waiting for the EU proposal, and maybe it could be interesting and useful to meet together again to discuss that and see what can be accepted, our concern. Also to involve World Council Europe members and to listen to all of different voices of craft in Europe, because the fact is that any country, any national regulation are different from one another. For example, I just thinking about Italy, and we have same problems and same issues both as Portugal, as France, and different accent on ceramics or glass or any kind of crafts products and craft making processes that are so different from each other. So I think that we still need to talk and keep talking about that. And we have just a few minutes left, so I don't know if you want to add something, or we can close the meeting, close the workshop. I think that this could be, this was a really interesting session and really interesting debate. Yes, Audrey.
Yes, what we could propose, if you agree, because we are knowing at the moment some of the main issues that would been raised in the EU regulation. Maybe you were speaking about, well, a common approach, a guideline, or something like that. We are thinking that we need to exchange between all of the countries and between all of our practices to provide a more or less common approach, even if we know that we will have some differences, and we accept it. Why? Because it's also important, as GI is also a sensitive political tool. Okay, and we know that we have some enemies, including in the EU, that we will fight against the achievement of this proposal. So we do believe that it is important we keep talking, we keep exchanging, and maybe we could have another I don't know, webinar or a workshop trying to address very specific issues. And I think with the CERT, we can answer some of the questions because of the experience, of the concrete experience we have. And with the AFIGIA, with Stephen and with the president of the AFIGIA, we could propose sharing with you this type of important question that would be raised in the future proposal of the EC.
Thank you, Audrey. Yes, Marita?
I forgot I raised my hand. Something totally unrelated, sorry. So if you want to leave me until the end, if someone has more queries related to today's topic, it's not a problem for me. What should I do, Costanza? Should I go ahead now, or?
Just listen to Christina and we'll come back to you, okay?
Oh, okay, great.
Thank you. Christina, yes. You're muted.
Yes, I was just following up Audrey. I think we should continue to have this kind of working group discussing, and it would be very interesting to hear from the countries that still don't have this experience, and maybe we will find very good surprises and tend to get them also for within our system. So I think we should be discussing this and sharing the information, the proposal and everything, in order to help all those that already have a system and those that are building up a system. I think we could have a very rich working group and share all the information. So I think we, the WCC, should organize more workshops like this. Okay.
Thank you, Christina. And of course, I just want to say that I'm going to gather all those materials, that all the presentation and the recording of this meeting, and I update the article that I've made on Warcraft Council Europe website and share with all of you all the results and all the contacts. So you can contact directly Audrey or Christina and keep in touch with us, and email us, write us, so we can know how to bring on the discussion. Of course, with Audrey, this is the first step, so just feel free to contact us whenever you want, whenever you have the chance, the results, and yes, thank you all of you. Marita, if it is something that can concern Warcraft Council Europe, yes.
Yes, I just, I've already emailed you about this, Costanza. We've recently found out that there's a deadline for cooperation projects with Creative Europe at the end of March. I know it's really soon. The Multicraft Foundation, we are interested in taking part in some sort of a project, and we realized that this is the best platform to try and find the partners, because we all have similar goals, basically. We have two main ideas. One is where we create some sort of a database that tries to preserve the processes related to endangered skills in our countries. So maybe we could go into a project together where each country chooses some of the main endangered skills that they have, and we take videos of how it is done, document the process, and start creating this European database of skills and traditions and stuff like that. So in years to come, if these skills, there's no one left to teach them or something like this, they don't get lost, and we have some sort of a digital document or digital space where these skills will continue to exist, and anyone who wants to, you know, in 20 years learn and start producing these crafts are able to find all this information. So that's one. Something else that I'm a big fan of is trying to turn our processes in creating products into some sort of a game, so that children will be interested to learn more about how these are done. I think Creative Europe is the perfect funding mechanism to do so. I always mention the example of bobbin lace in Malta. The traditional Maltese lace is the bobbin lace, and we usually associate it with old ladies sitting in little alleyways creating lace on their, I don't know what you call it in English, but anyway, they have something in front of them and they're creating a lace on the pattern. And I'm always thinking that it would really be cool if we could create something sort of like in a virtual environment with the, you know, the thing they put on their head, that virtual reality gear, where children could virtually learn the process and make the patterns of the lace digitally, for example. And they would be learning about the tradition and the lace making, but in a new, innovative way. So even if we don't do anything for this deadline, the cooperation projects will come out again for sure. If there are any organizations that are interested in these ideas or have more ideas that they want to build on, they should just get in touch with me. We would really like to start working on one of these projects or something similar.
Thank you so much, Marita. If you want to add your contact emails that I saw that are,
yes, I'll put it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you're interested in this kind of proposal, as Marita said, Creative Europe has funds, but the call will close very
This
early.
could also probably be an Erasmus project. I said Creative Europe because it is open at the moment, and they are they promote videography and games and stuff like that completely. So I thought it would be a holistic project that could fall within that remit.
Yes, thank you so much, Marita, for your proposal, and I invite all of you to think about that. And if you are interested, just write to us, to Worker Council Europe, or directly to Marita. That could be easier. Mm-hmm. So I really like to thank you, all of you. That was a really good start, a really nice workshop. And I want to thank all of the speakers, all of our guests. Thank you very much on behalf of Worker Council Europe. And yes, we had a thought at the beginning of this meeting regarding the Ukrainian situation. So we keep going on with Elizabeth in our minds every time, and we've tried to figure out how we can impact on that and how we can help on that. In the meantime, I really wish you a nice day and see you soon. Thank you for joining us. I just remember the board member that we are going to meet in 15 minutes, okay? Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.